You could see the flames were pouring out of the house. There are no reports of injuries. According to Beaumont Fire Dispatch, they tell us no one was inside the home. At this point, they've been out there a few hours. We'll, of course, keep you updated on air and online as we learn more about this developing story. Officers say Jeffries was last seen Friday evening and had not been to work this weekend. Police say this afternoon they received reports Jeffries was shot in the head and his body was possibly dumped. When police arrived to his home in the 2200 block of Glenwood, they say Jeffries' fiancee would not allow them inside.
So feeling that there was exigent circumstances and feeling for his safety, we did forcefully enter the home where we found his body in the bedroom near the rear of the home.
Officers say they found the body with what appeared to be a gunshot wound. According to initial investigations, say one person was critically injured and another seriously in a motorcycle crash on I-10 in Vidor. Troopers say it happened about 6:30 this evening when, for an unknown reason, a 34-year-old driver slammed on his front brakes and lost control while on the exit ramp. The vehicle crashed into a concrete sidewall and rolled over several times. The driver suffered serious injuries. A passenger, a 27-year-old woman, was critically injured. Both were taken to Christus Hospital, St. Elizabeth. In Beaumont, police say a woman was taken to jail for DWI following a single vehicle rollover crash on RFD Road, which is off Highway 105 and just east of Major Drive in Beaumont. The vehicle flipped, crashed into a fence, and landed on its wheels in the 5100 block of the road. No one was injured. A swollen river rushing past this Deweyville home, only adding to the devastation.
It's very stressful physically, mentally, emotionally.
Just a few weeks after record flooding.
With this, I can't even start, putting the walls back up, the floors in, doing anything, furniture or anything.
Now, piles of debris litter Sherry Kelly and Roy Ajo's waterlogged yard. The effort to clean it up stalled with this week's rainy weather. Now, the thought of opening the gates again?
It scares me. It scares me.
A scary thought for Stephen Richard, evident in picture after picture of his flood-damaged home.
I'm already holding water in my yard again.
Yard after yard in the community.
It just goes on and on.
Filled with what's left from the flood.
We do have a good, strong community, and that's not just a saying that everybody's saying.
A community dealing with the weather yet again. Now, like families throughout Hardin County, they're prepping for more rain. It's a scene that's anything but what this street name might suggest.
Work, knowing the amount of work.
Water piling up in drainage ditches, yards, and even homes in Silsbee.
A lot of rain really fast. And we got water in the house. We've been fighting it since 7:30 this morning. A fight to stay dry families throughout Hardin County are dealing with after heavy rains moved through the area.
Look at this. I have brand new red oak cabinets here, and I'm sitting here water.
Brenda Thrash says 2 inches of water filled her home off Ginger Lane in Lumberton, ruining renovations she just completed from previous floods.
And before long, it had covered our whole neighborhood right in here, and it looked like we lived in the middle of ocean.
Down the street, Mildred Havard credits sandbags with keeping rising water from seeping into her living room.
I always worry about it coming into my house when it gets up within an inch or two of my patio doors.
The water closed some roads.
It's fun. The only problem is you gotta watch out for snakes.
Turning this curve on Jenny Lane into a playing field.
I think it's a baseball field, but I know it's not good for the neighbors and all that because that floods their houses all the time.
Households now bracing for more rain after an already devastating sight outside their front doors. A surge of water rushing out of the gates of Toledo Bend Dam.
Crazy. A lot of water. A lot of water.
Awesome. Drawing crowds of onlookers.
We wanted to see all these floodgates open.
To see 9 gates, each open 22 feet.
I've never seen it at this level in my whole life.
A record-breaking sight.
Roughly 120,000 cubic feet per second was the previous record, and we've now gone to almost 207,000 cubic feet per second.
The goal is to control the lake level, to keep it from overtopping the gates.
We have what's called an operating guide.
Bill Hughes with the Sabine River Authority says you can't predict the magnitude of a weather event. What the authority can do is strike a balance between lakeside and downstream interest. But this record release means possible record-setting floods as this water rushes downstream toward Bon Weir and Deweyville. Families taking in the sight, in awe, But the reality of what's to come, not far back in their minds.
It won't affect us, but we're praying for all the people that it might affect.
Now one local group is working to help its victims and turning to the public for help. It's a crime that can happen anywhere, across the country and across the state.
People don't always understand that this is happening around them, but it is, and it's here.
Last year, Texas ranked second in the nation for the number of calls to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center.
We've got a big problem to deal with our youth, and we want to become the answer to that problem.
Lisa Bowler is executive director of Harvest House Ministry, a crime local law enforcement says is hard to crack down on.
This is a huge driving motivator for the criminal element, to the point that if it has not, it will surpass the narcotic trade.
Detective Michael Nixon investigates cases involving children in the Beaumont Police Department's Special Crimes Unit. His advice to parents:
those hard questions that you don't want to ask, that's in the back of your head and you know something's wrong, you need to ask them.
But where investigators found the drug, not quite as obvious. Whether the dead of winter or blistering pre-summer heat, one thing doesn't change. I-10 remains a pipeline for drug smugglers, running right through the heart of Jefferson County.
It's in and out all the time.
Shirley Kane has a front row seat as manager of the Bar H Country Store and Barbecue seated along the interstate.
We got good officers. I feel comfortable, but the drugs do need to get off the street.
Just down the street on I-10 East Wednesday morning. Swinging, sliding, smiling. It's the things Annie Stanley enjoys like most other 12-year-olds, except she has an extra challenge: fetal alcohol syndrome.
She has to work probably 10 times harder than the average kid.
Working harder against a preventable condition.
Like, I often daydream, wonder, and pray about how things could be different for her if she didn't have FASD.
Now, Annie and her adoptive mother are making sure no other child suffers the same fate.
It's whatever I can do to save one kid.
With Annie's Law.
This is about information, it's about awareness.
Families like the Stanleys.
Do not drink when you're pregnant.
Who know the impact all too well.
Because it will hurt babies.
Jasmine, Greg, no, you can see behind me what was once a bedroom now filled with charred debris. The woman and her daughter are able to escape with only the clothes on their back. Despite this loss, they say they're just thankful to be alive.
And I just thank God we all safe.
63-year-old Ethel Opal Miles, relying on faith just hours after a fire left this scene.
I can hug my daughter. She my hero. Yeah. She got me out.
The two were watching TV together Wednesday night, right before the flames sparked at the home on Idlewood in Beaumont.
And I heard that loud pop. I thought it was gunshots, you know, and come out. And someone just told me to come walk around the side of this house. And smoke was coming from the roof.
The house was just full of smoke, and she kept hollering, "Mama, come on, get out." And I had to kind of like peel my way because, you know, it was just black with smoke.
Firefighters say an electrical short appears to have caused it.
It went up in flames so quick.
Destroying their belongings, including all identification documents and Miles' medication for bone cancer. She's battled for 3 years.
I just thank God that I was here to get my mom out of here, because any other time she'd have been in there asleep.
Their pet fish didn't make it, but the women both are okay with their 3 dogs, cats, turtle, and now frustration.
And we've been telling them about the wiring. We've been telling them about coming and fix things.
The landlord tells KFDM News there were no complaints about wiring.
It ain't where you live, it's how you live.
After the fire, Miles now faces a future filled with questions.
Now I'm just trying to find a place to stay, you know, and with my little animals. After the 3 days with the Red Cross, I mean, I don't know.
Some doctors are now calling routine in their emergency rooms.
It's really a huge issue.
Dr. Ali Osman is the medical director of Baptist Hospital's Emergency Center in Beaumont.
Any day, any time, any part of the day. Doesn't have to be a weekend, it doesn't have to be a holiday, it doesn't have to be a summer thing. It is a daily thing.
Last year, a dangerous batch of the drug sent dozens of users to hospitals over the holidays. On a Wednesday afternoon this year, Baptist Hospital says it had 3 patients in its emergency room doctors were treating for synthetic marijuana overdoses.
It's not the marijuana, it's not the cannabis that people know. These are chemicals that are manufactured to give the effect of synthetic marijuana.
Police fled as a counselor at Southeast Texas Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. She says about 50% of recovering drug addicts they help have used synthetic marijuana, sometimes in addition to other drugs.
Synthetic marijuana have affected people from no drug use to addiction drug use.
But the effects of its use, the doctors and nurses here know all too well.
Every single day and night.
Each day, Vietnam veteran Stephen Gibson makes sure his wife Donna takes her daily doses of medication.
And now it's gotten to the point where she can't work. She can't do anything.
She spends most of her time behind closed doors resting, living at the beach to help with stress as she fights a myriad of health issues. Gibson says his 61-year-old wife has had a stroke, heart attack, seizures weekly, difficulty walking, talking, and keeping concentration, leaving her unable to work.
And this is from the Office of the Disability.
Now her Social Security disability insurance has been denied. A letter Gibson says he received from the Social Security Administration states her condition is not severe enough to keep her from working, and that if she follows doctor's orders, her condition should remain under control. As are a lot of Southeast Texans who lined up at stores like this today because of the big prize.
Oh, 500. Oh, even better.
$500 million.
It's the big one tonight.
Price tag on the Powerball jackpot.
We heard that lady talking about how much it was, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go buy a ticket.
Bringing countless customers into this Shell store off I-10. Employees say they saw well over 100 lottery hopefuls in just a short time. Across the country, the surge in purchases pushed the jackpot up to an estimated $500 million. And that number drove even more customers here.
I feel lucky, so I don't normally do it, but it's up so high.
It's at least the 6th largest jackpot in North America in the game's history, prompting big dreams from those playing.
Of course.
From the MA Meat Market to Rosie's Soul Food to businesses all across Beaumont, surveillance video has helped bring down a group of suspected burglars.
That's less criminals we have on the street.
To invest in a good security system, a good security camera that's put in several different places.
The cameras at Rosie's Soul Food helped the police investigation.
As authorities pieced together a case, leaving neighbors by the plant shaken even a day later. Kenneth Johnson is a decades-long resident of this area, living just a few houses down from one of the world's largest refineries, ExxonMobil.
Well, I was kind of paranoid, looking like a bomb threat.
A bomb threat Wednesday, disrupting not only the plant, but this neighborhood's sense of security.
It's a major concern because we don't know what's going to happen if that place goes where everything goes.
Investigators say someone called the plant about explosives placed and set to go off, prompting a number of federal, state, and local agencies to respond. The investigation didn't turn up a bomb, but authorities say 23-year-old Lance Fontenot later admitted to making the call.
Let me make this really clear. This was not a terrorist event. In the past, all too often, these types of bomb threats that come in are based on personal motivations or some type of vendetta. This one was no different.
According to court documents, this one involving Fontenot and a woman who is contracted to work at ExxonMobil. Quote, the call was made by a male who stated that a U.S. securities employee known to the affiant had a brother who placed boxes around the outer perimeter of the plant and that the boxes were set to explode at 11 a.m. The subject states that he was concerned because the employee referenced by the caller had been talking about ISIS. According to the document, the employee said Fontenot had broken into their home the night before after a personal dispute. This lesson in the water is a first splash with swimming for some of these kids.
What we have to learn next.
With an expert instructor, Olympic gold medalist Cullen Jones.
I like to go fast in the water. I love training. I love getting gold medals, but this is my way of giving back to a sport that's given me a lot.
Giving back by helping save lives, one bubble, kick, or splash at a time.
At the age of 5, I almost drowned, so I totally understand. I really bring that with me when I'm teaching classes.
Jones is part of the Make a Splash tour, an effort by the USA Swimming Foundation and Phillips 66. The goal, to bring swimming lessons and with that, swim safety to kids across the country in the pool and auditorium.
If you think about some of the staggering statistics.
A message in and out of the pool, 3-time Olympic gold medalist Rowdy Gaines is sharing.
The great thing about water safety is we found the cure, Haley. It's swim lessons. It's pure and simple. You take swim lessons, you can save lives.
Lives that too often are cut too short. According to the USA Swimming Foundation, more than 3,400 people drown in the U.S. each year, and 70% of African Americans don't know how to swim. Cullen was the second African American swimmer to win Olympic gold and the first to break a world record.
After 2008, I got my first gold medal, and a friend of mine said, do you know what you just did?
Now, in between training for the next Olympics, he and Gaines are sharing an all-important lesson.
Yes, you can.
Overcoming fear.
Hopefully the youngest ain't scared of water anymore.
A message for parents and kids.
It was awesome.
Hitting home. The effort to clean up the neighborhood, welcome news to one father.
We're trying to keep it as a safe environment as it is, but it's pretty tough nowadays.
Jesus Zarilla lives on Avenue 8 with his family. His son goes to school nearby, just a few blocks away. What authorities call a drug house, making this a tough road.
It's sad because you have the school here and you have Fletcher 2 blocks away, and you don't want kids to see all this stuff.
Now, police are working to change that.
You start running 6 or 7 search warrants on a house in less than 2 or 3 years or more. That's a problem area.
What police call a problem area has led to a federal indictment alleging crack cocaine was distributed from the house at the corner of Avenue A in Milam for more than a decade.
Donations pouring in Monday to the B.A. Ritter Senior Center in Nederland.
You have to swim for your life from your own home. That's really scary.
Cynthia LaPointe just got back from Baton Rouge.
Boxing trophies, newspaper articles, memories of a life lost.
We're all affected, the whole Hispanic community, not just my family.
Marco Antonio de la Cruz is the father of 26-year-old Manuel de la Cruz. Marco Antonio says he brought his son to the medical center of Southeast Texas last Monday because he seemed disoriented. Police say the schizophrenic man wasn't cooperating with staff, and they had to help the staff restrain him for his own safety and the safety of others. The father says officers used a taser on his son.
Yes, I saw it 1, 2, 3 times. I can't say how many times exactly.
Police say during the struggle, they realized Manuel de la Cruz was in distress. They began administering emergency procedures, but he died. The district attorney's office is investigating. The family wants criminal charges brought against those responsible for Manuel's death. The family also wants to highlight the importance of mental health care.
Justice needs to be done so what happened to my son doesn't happen to other people.
A father grieving, a family waiting for answers about a loved one's death.
Sleep, I see the gun pointing.
It's a nightmare Paula Jones says she can't escape. There when she wakes up and goes to sleep. Jones and her 22-year-old daughter, Jasmine Sells, robbed at gunpoint.
It changed me a lot.
The two say they were walking near the underpass in the 2800 block of Irving June 17th when they saw a vehicle pass by.
It was 2 dudes that got on us. One got out and came pointed right here in my face. The other one was still in the car. He was leaning out the car and had a long gun pointed at my mom.
They say the men grabbed her purse, prescription medication, and left this phone in pieces.
We thank you, Lord God, that today we are making a statement.
A prayer.
All you could ever be.
A song.
Showing up is power.
And a call for support.
We love her and we support her. We support all of our officers.
A message dozens of people here are sending on the steps of Orange City Hall.
So we want her to know we're here for you. We're going to help you.
To a policewoman they say is dedicated to helping others.
We have a police officer by the name of Veronica Woodle, and she's being investigated for allegedly being in a protest. And that's exactly not what she was doing. She was doing her job as a police officer.
An attorney for Officer Veronica Woodle says this is the YouTube video in which she appears.
She was just doing her job.
An event organizer read a statement she says was provided by the artist, who says the officer didn't know they were shooting a video.
Haley, how's it going there tonight?
Tiffany, it's going well. A lot to do, a lot of food vendors and different booths.
and some unique vendors, some animal vendors. Check out these Royal Bengal white tigers. I'm here with Lisa Lopez of All Things Wild. It's dinner time for them. You can see clearly they're very hungry. And so, Lisa, what can you tell us about these tigers here?
Well, we could start out with these guys are just about 3 years old. They'll turn 3 May 3rd. The one that we just fed, that's a female. Her name is Vanita. In India, that means graceful lady. And then this is her brother over here. This is Kadar.
We can hear him growling. They're very hungry, huh?
And Kadar is 3 years old, too. His name in India means strong soul.
There is a ton to do out here in addition to the food and carnival rides. Check this out. There's a lot of animals, including this camel I'm on right now. Tiffany, absolutely, there is plenty to do with lots of food and vendors, but as you can see, the celebrations are wrapping up for tonight. But if you didn't make it out, no worries. Everything you see here will be back up tomorrow and through the weekend. The fun all kicked off with the parade through Proctor Street this evening, of course, with crazy costumes, plenty of music, and a lot of beads. The celebration includes countless food vendors, carnival games and rides, and even some unique animals. We've spoken to a lot of people out here tonight. They say tradition, fun, and family bring them back each year.
We just came out here to have some fun, get this all over with, and pretty much.
I don't like the taste of water, so I go buy my water.
Joe Brody is one of the thousands of Bridge City residents receiving this letter over the weekend from the city. It notifies him the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality notified the city. Drinking water exceeded maximum contaminant levels for a group of volatile organic compounds.
I just don't drink the water here. I wash my laundry in it, and that's it. The dishes we use water we buy.
Brody says water issues aren't a new problem in this town. It's why he says he buys bottled water and ice from the store instead of drinking the tap water.
Because I don't trust this water here. I never did since I moved here.
The letter states some who drink water with excess levels of the compound over many years may experience problems with their liver, kidney, or central nervous systems, and may have an increased risk of getting cancer. But an alternative source of drinking water isn't necessary.
A lot of these problems, you'll just feel sick, maybe nauseated, loss of appetite, weakness.
Dr. Levine recommends that if any residents start to feel sick or have health concerns, to contact their doctor, and reminds people to stay hydrated.
If I were in Bridge City, I would probably just drink bottled water and avoid drinking the tap water.
And though Brody's routine isn't changing,
well, I already got problems with my health anyways.
He hopes the water quality improves for those that call this place home. In Bridge City, Ashley DeVrend, 6 News on Fox.
A husband, a father, a Korean War veteran drove away from his Honey Island home Saturday afternoon.
He said he was going to take the dog for a ride, something that they do every day about that time.
His family says they asked 83-year-old William Gant Sr., also known as Harold, to wait for help, but he went by himself.
He just said he wanted his wallet and the keys, and he put the dog in the car and he left.
The family contacted authorities. His stepdaughter, Gina McNary, says Gant has Alzheimer's, a form of dementia.
He's recently gone back to his childhood, his war days.
Psychiatrist Carolyn Floyd is with Baptist Hospital.
It's a neurodegeneration. Basically, the nerve cells are dying off as they are being replaced with plaques and tangles.
McNary says Gant took his dog Bo with him when he left. After days missing, those who love Gant can't help but think about the impact he's had on the family.
He's a grandfather, a father, a husband, and a good friend to everybody.
I'm not going to let the negative change who I am or why I do what I love.
Beaumont police officer Carol Riley has worked in law enforcement for nearly a quarter century. She says the shooting of officers in Baton Rouge is disturbing, but every day is dangerous for law enforcement.
You know, I know when I leave my house that it may be the last time I leave out. This morning, 3 Baton Rouge officers left their house. And they told their families bye and they're not coming home today.
Riley says Beaumont police officers will continue serving and protecting the community, no matter the risk. A community she says supports the department.
We don't have the solutions. We can only control what we do, and right now we're focusing on all the positive. We're focusing on the fact that we do this job because we love it. We love our community, and the positive far outweighs the negative.